Hola, everyone. Want to come on with the evening conversation for y'all this evening. I did do a podcast. It should be uploading. I don't know why my data is so slow. So if this doesn't upload tonight, it will be uploaded tomorrow. But I want to speak to something that's on my spirit today. I had this on my spirit this morning, and I was going to do a podcast episode on it, but I decided to stick to the script and do the podcast on the Bible study to support the Bible study that I'll be dropping tomorrow. But I will use this time to speak to something that, I know that we all don't like to discuss. We don't discuss it because we're afraid that in discussing it, we're giving it power. But I think in discussing it, we bring it to light and we dismantle some of the strongholds that it has over our lives and the way we move in our lives. I'm speaking to the transitory state that we all must experience in life. All of us obviously have been born, because if we weren't, we wouldn't be walking animated beings on this planet. And everything that is born of woman, what must transition and go into the world of non-breathing. That's just the way this thing is set up. But many of us spend our entire lives avoiding that. It scares the daylights out of many of us. There are many of us that have lived in ways that we may not be as proud of. And because of the decisions we've made for our own selfish desires, we really are very afraid of even discussing what all of us are bound to, which is this transitory state, the state of transition. And I wrote a blog on it on my Just Call Me Auntie page, and you should check it out. And I wrote my feelings of it because at that time I had gone through a very traumatic health experience, and I was fortunate enough to have lived through it. And some things were going on in my life at that time that brought up this whole transitory state again. It was like an ongoing theme in my life that was over my head, and life was forcing me to see it for what it was. No longer did I have the luxury of hiding from it and pushing it off in the distance and depending on my youth to protect me or elongate my experience with it. I was no longer sheltered in that aspect. I had to really confront it. I was in a state in my life where it was as if the fear of it held me hostage. My health scare brought the reality of it upon me so abruptly. And then after my health scare, other situations began to materialize in my life that came like monsters of this thing. The monsters that came bearing this as its weapon to control me. And either I was going to bow to it or I was going to face it and use it as a reality of which that I could gain power from in directing my life from that point on. And that's what I chose to do. I did not choose to bow to it. I chose to face the reality of it. Because this transitory state that we all must go through, it's not something that is exclusive to some of us and others don't have to experience it. And that's the thing about it. How can something that we are all bound to have so much power as to allow one or another to use it to inflict fear upon another person, when you yourself must go through that? No one is exempt. How do you use something that we all must travel through at one time or another in life to control another, as if you have the power to do so? It's a very interesting conversation. However, when I saw something on social media someone I know experienced, and it just brought me back to the foundation, the fundamentals to all of our walks in life. It brought me back to the fundamentals of why I get up and I do what I do every day. This weekend had the weirdest energy. It was just a weird energy weekend for me. And I couldn't put my finger on it. And then this morning when I got up, I saw that, someone that I know had experienced this transitory space in their close family environment. And it really threw me for a loop. It did. And it made me look at my life again. I had already been reflecting this weekend, and today it just brought another aspect of it to the forefront. And that is, none of us have all the answers to this. We are all out here doing the best we can with what we know. None of us know the truth of our creation in its totality. None of us have the absolute full story as to the truth of our environment, what we were born into. Do you know where we are? Do you absolutely know where we are? Can you speak to the genius that we are surrounded by? Do you know the truth of your creation? Or are you like me, constantly in awe of it, constantly searching for this truth? And once you think you gotten your finger on it, another aspect of it shows itself in your life, and now you're looking at that and walking that path to reveal the truth of that, and it just goes on and on and on. Are you like me, where you see the truth being expounded upon by others, even if you don't accept everything they say? You can accept the fact that they are wandering around in the darkness looking for pieces of them, just like you are searching for pieces of you. And little knickknacks that they may have come up with align with your knickknacks, and you can take portions of what they have come up with and add to your repertoire or your library of knowledge, making you the better. Or you take nothing that they have given you, and you can see the differences and why those differences are paramount, thus making you the better. In 2 Baruch, when I was pondering this morning, this whole aspect of life in transition, I couldn't help but to remind myself of 2 Baruch, where at this point, you guys, the children, this is a pivotal time in the history of Israel. The children have been made a mighty nation by the hand of this God. I'll be going into detail as to the beginnings of this tomorrow in my Bible study on Moses. But at this point, God has made a name amongst these children. What God would lead these children through, and these children honoring one God only and putting to rest many other gods, overturning what was before completely overturning what was before. The whole pantheon of gods, the worship of them, the reverence of them amongst the people have been completely mirrored, reversed. These gods have been put on ice. Never before had this been done that we can refer to. Even before the flood was this not happening. Never had this happened. So you have energies that are old grandfathered energies fighting for the attention. And this God of Israel coming and just annihilating it all by way of one man, Moses. And for this one man to be successful amongst this entire pantheon of gods, amongst this entire pantheon of priests that honor these gods. These are mighty men in spirit and women. When you look at Jezebel, you're seeing a remnant of this. Jezebel came forward in spirit to undermine the credibility of the God of Israel, to fight for the old way. She was just as passionate about her stance and being correct. This is the original way she's fighting for in her mind. And if she's got to marry Ahab to keep the throne in place, she's gonna do it. And she's dominant and she's powerful. So powerful that she's running him. This is the mentality. But God walks these children through each and every step of this successfully. Everybody bows down to them. They could not stay in alignment. The powers against them were so tremendous. They could not stay in alignment. It goes back to Adam and Eve being put in the middle of somebody else's hell and being prized and pampered while this powerful entity is being subjugated, exiled, ignored. It was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of time before he got the upper hand. Same way with these children. Walking through all of these nations of old gods. Life in transition of these old gods at hand. They pulling out all of their powers. They're not cutting any corners. It was just a matter of time. And Baruch is standing there and God has come and he says, I'm tired of this now. I've had enough. You need to be disciplined. Your problem is that you're not disciplined. You can't stay in alignment with me because of a discipline problem. So because you're not disciplined, I'm going to take the scepter of power away from you and I'm going to hand it off to whoever is the highest bidder, whoever is the most formidable. Because God doesn't care about money. When I say highest bidder, he's looking for who's the most capable. Who can vie? Who's going to win the contest to vie for this scepter? And the only country really mighty enough was Babylon. And that's who got it. The Babylonians are at the gates watching. And God comes down with 4 of his angels, one at each corner of this temple, the holiest of holies of this temple, the inner sanctum. And he says, this is too powerful for any one nation to take. The items of this area, I can't let fall into any one man's hand or any one nation's hand, lest they think that they are powerful enough to overcome me and to proclaim themselves as the ones to have taken my stuff from my holy temple. It's bad enough that I'm going to have to do these people the way that I'm going to have to do them. But this portion of things I can control. And he puts an angel at every corner and he allows this holy interior portion of the temple of Jerusalem that David and his son Solomon would come into creation on behalf of their reverence for this God, to be sunken into the ground deep where no man could ever dig it up. And Baruch is sitting here and he's saying, this is before it all happens. This is a pivotal time, and Baruch is standing there and he's saying, I got to fight for it now. It's now or never. If this happens, This will change the trajectory. This will change our lineage from this point on forever. If I don't fight for this, there'll be no turning back. But if I fight for it, we have a chance of maybe persuading God to have mercy on us, to give us another alternative, to give us another chance. And so Baruch is going back and forth with the God of Israel, face to face. God says, I understand how you're astonished. He uses Baruch's get back, Baruch's fight. He calls it astonishment. We would call it passion today. Fight. God calls it astonishment. Either way, Baruch is out there going back and forth with it. He's saying, Father, you know I love you, but we're going to have a conversation about this. I'm telling you, I love you and I love my house. And if I didn't love it, I wouldn't have nothing to say about it. But he says, Lord, my Lord, behold, the years of this time are few and evil. And who is able in his short time to acquire that which is measureless? He's saying, Father, we don't have enough time to come to terms with the totality of your truth. It's so vast. In all directions, it flowers out. And once you think you've gotten your thumb on one aspect of it, another one shows up. And then once you think you got your thumb on that, another one, and another one, and another one. And we just don't have enough longevity in life for us to get to a point of true acknowledgement of knowledge of it, to pass it down to the generations, to make it lasting. So that when we transition and we come back, we're not restarting over and over and over again with nothing. He's saying it's the time of us being born again into this life that we don't come into the realization of what's important until we get halfway through our lives, or at least a quarter of the way through. Yet you're holding us accountable regardless. You want us to reach this threshold amongst all these wolves, masters that have knowledge that surpasses us. The playing field is not leveled. Surely you did a wonderful thing with the flood, but you see each time you flooded, the playing field just hasn't been leveled. And God says, he gives Baruch nothing. You would think at this point, God would say, he would read into Baruch and he would see where Baruch is leading from. He would say, you know, I know what you're fighting for. You're fighting for me to give you more of an advantage. You would think God would see that. But God does not even take that into consideration. He doesn't even read into the passion or the astonishment of Baruch. He doesn't go into the core. And this is God. This is all-knowing God that knows all of us, the master of this creation. He knows the core of what Baruch was getting at. Yet he focuses in only on what Baruch speaks to. He gives Baruch no more than what Baruch gives. He says, I gave Adam all the time in the world. Since you want to ask me about time. And Adam did more damage with more time. I gave Moses less time. And Moses did more with less time. So time is not an issue. He doesn't go into detail and say, you know, Baruch, I know exactly where you're getting at. You know, I know what you're saying. Why don't you try it this way? If you all were to try it this way, you probably have a better outcome. Or why didn't you try it that way? If you try it that way, you have a better outcome. If you were to try it this way, I wouldn't be able to do such and such and such. Or if you tried it that way, such and such would be easier for you to attain. He gives them nothing. He gives them nothing, friend. He gives them no more than what he gives. Nothing. He speaks to the light. And I answered, and he said that he that lighted has taken from the light, and there are but few that have imitated him. But those many whom he has lighted have taken from the darkness of Adam, and have not rejoiced in the light of the Lamb. That's all he gives. Mostly is that you take from the dark more than you take from the light. You find joy in the darkness more than the light. And that is the seed that flowers out all of your problems. You take from the darkness more than you take from the light. These conversations that I'm having for you with you today, because today was a rough day. It was one of them weird days. Is to remind you that this life is not permanent. Friend, there's nothing permanent in this world. I found that out. And that truth changed the trajectory of my life. Something as simple as that. There's nothing permanent here. What do you see here that's permanent? Everything here goes through a transition, including us. It's what you do with the time you have that is most important. Single-handedly, not being held hostage to the fear of transition. Not at all. How do you fear something that is inevitable? How do you fear something that, if lived right in a purposeful manner, does not bring upon fear? You have many in this life that will do anything so that the things that they have done to others never befall them. You have many in this life that will do anything just so that it's not them. They'll even put people in situations so that the things that they don't desire, that they signed up for, don't befall them. And these are the things that cause fear. These are the things. I can recall a time when I was pregnant with my daughter, even before I was pregnant, but when all throughout my young adult years, all of us women, many of us wonder, well, I wonder what it's going to be like to have a baby. My daughter at times brings this up. Mom, what is it like when you have children? I don't know if I want to have kids, Mom, because such and such. Us girls, we always go through that. They say that the closest you get to transitioning is when you're giving birth. And it's very true. Yet it would be through me giving birth that I would learn more about life. I would be able to put into a first-person perspective all the things that I heard from other people. I would be able to internalize them, make them a reality, because I myself have gone through it. I would be able to say, wow, okay, now I see what they meant by that. And it's somewhat of an exclusive thing because only women experience childbirth. Men don't know anything about it. Men don't know what it's like to carry a child in your womb. Men do not know what spiritual experiences we as women have in carrying children, because it is a highly spiritual experience. Whether she's a spiritual woman or not, she has heightened spiritual experiences while pregnant. How could she not when a new life is forming within her? You have vivid dreams. I can tell you the most vivid dreams I've had in my entire life I had when I was pregnant. Very vivid dreams. It's the closest you get to spirit in your life. I'm here to tell you. And I think it's the same way in the transitory state. You don't have anyone that comes back to tell you about that state. It's just a void. It's as if we've been quarantined here and sanctioned off, and no one knows what to expect on the other side. You have some people that say that they know, but you really don't know, and you really have to have a lot of faith in that person to really trust that they know what they're talking about. Yet I'm here to tell you that when you live a particular way, you fear less and you know more. You don't have as much of a fear monger type of mentality. The boogeyman isn't lurking around the corner as much because you've done all you could to exasperate and get as much out of your now, even if nobody else agrees with you but you, because that's the truth of it. That's the thing with this life. It's not a group thing. It's an individualistic thing. It's not a contest. It's not something this life is not dependent upon what somebody else thinks. You are judged on your actions and your actions alone. What have you done in your life to add to life for other people? It's really fundamental. It's not complicated. What have you done to add back to the pool? Have you been a blessing? Have you? Or do you come like a curse? These be the things. And I think when we begin to ponder these things in our own individualistic life, not looking at somebody else's life and judging that for them, but going inside, going in your own mind and looking at your own life and judging your own self and ironing out your own fabric, making amends with your own demons, countering your own negatives with a multitude of positives, we can stand in the truth of who we are, regardless to us having all the answers or not. It doesn't matter if you have all the answers when you live that way. You know enough. And that is that you've done the best you could with what you've had. And if you did not have enough, you looked to acquire enough in good so that you can do the best you can with what you have. And you can maximize on that. Genuinely. This is my word for y'all today. This is on my spirit tonight. We're loved so much more than we'll ever know. Who would have thought that I'd come on here doing Bible studies? This is not a gimmick. I'm not getting paid for this. I don't look for money from this. Surely I came on and I said, if you want to donate to the channel, that'd be great, because I surely could use it. But I don't ever want to cheapen what I'm bringing forward, so I took that down. All of my needs are being met quickly. God always provides a way for me. I'm a very loved woman. God takes very good care of me. And it shows in my life. It has cost me a lot to come on here and do these Bible studies and to do these podcasts. It has cost me a lot. A tremendous amount. It has cost me. But each time I come forward and I deliver these videos, I feel so much more abundant and blessed. I don't deliver these videos because I think I have all the answers, because I do not. I'm I deliver these videos because I'm on a treasure hunt and I search within my Bible and all other spiritual books to find the truth of God. And I'm just reporting what I find because I need it. It's my lifeline. It really is. And there is nothing better that I can do. And any of you that I know of that I feel has the same type of calling, I encourage you to come forward and do it as well. This is the revival. This is the revival, friend. It's not standing in church all night long and all week. And that's great too. I'm not knocking that. But that's just one aspect of it. This is another aspect of it. It's letting your light shine amongst your brethren and your sistren, regardless of language, demographic, location, ethnicity, economic status, sexual preference, gender, regardless of any of that. It's a heartfelt thing. Letting your light shine now amongst others. Being an encouragement for another person to come forward and allow their light to shine. Not in a competitive way to one up someone or to try to sabotage another person or to try to discredit someone and say, oh, well, they don't know this. I know it better. Not any of that. That discredits and diminishes the value of what God has put in you to do. But coming forward and saying, you know what, I'm going to take this a step further in another direction, or I'm going to go the same direction. I'm going to let my light shine in the same direction. There is no competition. The world needs it. And in doing so, we dispel the demons that lurk in all of the natural ways of this life, including the transitory spaces. Allowing us to face ourselves in our lives now, to get the most of it, to maximize on the time that we have in a positive way, to right our wrongs, whatever they may be, because I don't care how great you are to yourself, you got some wrongs somewhere. And even if you don't have wrongs, you can cover your children and your children's children with all the positive energy that you accumulate. This was on my spirit today. I had a heavy morning this morning, but I always look to turn my what one or even myself would consider a negative into a positive. A low vibration into a high vibration by alchemizing it. I'm an alchemist. I look to change things that come upon me to things that serve me. And I encourage you to do the same thing. Whatever state you may be in, you have the power to change it by changing your mind. By focusing on its opposite and making it personal in your life and standing in that as if it's here, because it is. Even if you don't see it. You love more than you'll ever know. I'll never stop telling you. I love all of you deeply. That's why I come on every single day with something for you. Or every other day with something for you. Keep going. You're the best you've ever been right now. Peace and love.